As creators, there are so many things that we have to learn to be successful in this industry, from managing our content and our audience to our personal life and mental health. In Coached, a sub-series of Soulcial Scoop podcasts by Soulcialmate, we work one-on-one with a member of our private creator coaching community, the Soulcial Suite, and you get to be a fly on the wall during our call. I'm Kristen Bousquet, and I've been a full-time creator for over 3 years and have brought in over $350,000 from sponsored posts and content creation collaborations with brands so far. Soulcial Scoop is the podcast where we teach you, the entrepreneurial creator, to turn your online influence into a profitable, self-sustaining business. Let's dive right in. Hello, my friends, and welcome to Soulcial Scoop Podcast. My name is Kristen Bousquet, and as always, I'm so excited that you're here. We are here on a Thursday again with an episode of Coached, where we are actually coaching someone who is in our Soulcial Suite private creator community. I'm so excited for you guys to meet Anna Lisa. She shares recipes that use 5 ingredients or less to make cooking quick and easy for busy individuals. And it's so crazy that we're talking now because if anyone's been following my stories, I've been trying to make lunch easy for me because for some reason I never eat lunch and I am intimidated by it because I can't ever think of anything to eat for lunch. So I'm actually really, really excited to talk to you today about that as well. So I'm so happy that you're here today. If you want to just kind of give yourself a little introduction for anyone who doesn't know who you are yet.
Sure. Hi, thanks for having me. I'm a big fan of this podcast. I listen to it all the time and love getting your advice. So I'm excited to chat. And like you said, I have a Instagram called Trader Joe's 5 Items or Less for busy parents. For me, I'm a busy mom of two very little ones. So I needed, to come up with quick and easy meals. And I know a lot of people are in the same boat, like you just don't want to cook at the end of the night. So easy, quick meals, 5 ingredients or less, save money, save time, foolproof.
I love that.
All that good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone at this point feels like they're so busy. So I think what you do pretty much is going to be helpful for everyone.
Yeah. It's funny. I started it for with the intent of busy mamas who have newborns, things like that. But I also get a lot of people who are, and all, college students who are barely learning how to cook, or people who work 70 hours a week. People reach out for all kinds of reasons, and, it helps a lot of different people who are just all sorts of reasons. So that's been cool to see.
Yeah, I love it. I need to go through and save some recipes because like I said, I'm having trouble with lunch. I just skip lunch because I don't want to cook for lunch, or I don't know what to cook for lunch. So I'm I'll just eat some dino nuggets and call it a day.
Yeah. If it's not already ready, or I can't zap it, I won't
Literally.
eat. It has to be so accessible or so easy. Yeah.
Honestly,
I'm the same way.
Yeah, I feel that. So there are a few things that you wanted to go over today. First, starting off with kind of feeling like you locked yourself into too much of a niche, and it's maybe making brands stray away from working with you for that reason, because you are too niche, but also because you don't have a lot of brand sponsorships. So can you kind of give us a little bit more information about that?
Yeah. So I feel I of course, I post the content to help people, but I got to pay the grocery bills for these meals.
True.
So I would love to, work with brands more. But I feel food brands may look at me and be like, well, she only posts Trader Joe stuff, or maybe, so then I also think okay, maybe I'll go to kitchen gadgets, things like that. But I don't post videos because videos don't work for me. I try, and the engagement is so low that I'm I'll just stick to carousels. But I think brands are looking for videos. So I'm I'm so specific and niche, like Trader Joe's, and also just kind of one dimensional. Yeah. So I think brands look at my page and they're like, not what we're looking for. So I'm having trouble, getting brands to agree to work with me.
Okay, so I have to back it up for a second and ask, why do you feel like videos don't perform well? So have you tested a few different times and you were like, this isn't working, we're just not doing it anymore?
Yeah, I have. And it'll be the same recipe. I'll do a carousel and it'll get, a decent reach and good amount of likes. And then I'll do a video of the exact same recipe and it'll bomb. And I'll even do it in reverse order where I do the video first and
Yeah.
then the carousel a few days later or the week later. And it's always the carousels that get so much
Okay.
more. And the videos are like not good, So I'm like, I know video is like the thing right now, but it doesn't seem to work for me. And I like to stick with what's working, So for me,
Yeah.
the
And
photos
that's
is
fair.
working. Yeah.
Right, right,
So,
right.
but I'm like, so I'm just torn. I'm not really sure what to do with that.
Yeah. So you like in that situation so much remind me of my husband Andrew. He has a pin business, and I have the same conversation with him. I'm like, Andrew, video. Like this
Yeah.
is the way of the future. I was very resistant to it for a long time, but once you find a type of video that you actually like creating and that people do like, video actually becomes like really fun. But it is kind of like a long, tedious, like straining process to find
Mm-hmm.
like a format of video that works really well for you. So have you like I guess let me ask you this. What does your video look like? Like what is the concept of the video that you're creating? Like are you actually creating the recipe or like what does it look like?
Yeah. So it's, I create the recipe and I actually do video for every post because I also want to put them, I'm working on a blog that I want to release next week and I want every
Nice.
recipe to have a video. And then I also
Love
release the
that.
video over on TikTok and YouTube Shorts.
Okay.
So I already have them. And they're
Okay.
basically, they're like less than a minute and they're like, I try to do the quick shots and the money
Yeah.
shot with the food and then a little
Yeah,
bit
yeah,
of
yeah.
like instructions. So I like it. I like doing it. And I think they're pretty good when I do them.
Right.
But, I don't know why they just don't,
Yeah,
perform that
why they're
great.
not hitting. It's surprising to me too because I feel like what you do would be like something I would want to watch videos on, like so
Hmm.
it is surprising to me. So I don't want to like spend all our time here because I know that wasn't the question, but I think I I'll look at your videos after and like maybe I can kind of like see if there's anything that we can change or improve on. But I feel like it's definitely worth spending time like experimenting with different formats. Like,
Hmm.
instead of just showing the recipe, like, are there any other like creative ways that other food bloggers or whatever food creators are doing recipes that you could try and like experiment with and see if there is like a way that you can get that value out there in video that actually hits because it's so surprising to me that like such a good concept that you have here,
Yeah.
like why wouldn't people not want to watch a video of it?
Yeah.
So it might be worth like doing some playing around and like with format, like see if
Yeah.
there's anything else you can kind of think of there.
Yeah.
But okay, aside from that, so kind of going back to talking about working with brands and feeling like you're too much in this niche, and that you don't, again, like have sponsorships to show to get like other brands interested. First, I feel like this is something that I hear from a lot of creators. I don't have any brand deals. Like, why would anyone want to hire me? That is like, it's such a limiting belief. Like it's
Hmm.
something that everyone goes through and they become a creator. There's always going to be a point where we don't have work, but then like the second you start, saying, okay, well, I'm going to get some work, I'm going to do some gifted partnerships, whatever, then you build that
Yeah.
portfolio slowly. But like every single creator goes through that exact situation where they don't have work. So
Hmm.
I think it's something that is probably stuck inside your head. Like, don't let that fact stop you from pitching or, stop you from thinking you could work with KitchenAid or whatever it is, like bigger
Hmm.
brands, just because you don't have, sponsorships or whatever. But when it comes to like the niche portion of it, I think this is where you have to get really creative. So like even
Hmm.
for me, for example, like at this point, I really only talk to creators. Like I'm only talking about things that are going to be relevant to creators, right? So like I'm talking about like maybe a new influencer platform or a photo editing app. Like that's all the obvious stuff.
Right.
Whereas like maybe for you, that might be again like the kitchen gadgets and things like that. Like that's all the obvious stuff. But like
Yeah.
this is where we have to get creative and think outside the box. So like I might want to work with a journal company because everyone who's a creator is like probably taking notes about content ideas that they have. Like, like
Yeah.
it's somehow this product
Yeah.
can be connected back to what I do. So like for you, maybe it's like meal prep containers, or
Yeah.
maybe it's like, you know, those our place pans or
Hmm.
aprons, or even like, again, notebooks that people can write recipes in, like
Yeah.
kind of like think one step outside of what's like the obvious brands.
Yeah.
And as long as you can find a way to connect that brand back to your mission, which is, again, like helping those people, you know, cook easier for busy people. Like, what do busy
Hmm.
people need that might be relevant to them that could somehow be related back to that? It's
Yeah.
kind of difficult, but you just got to get creative and try and think of
Yeah.
some things like that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I could definitely try that. I think, yeah, that's interesting. Just like trying to find a way to have it connect with like,
Yep.
it doesn't even, yeah, maybe it doesn't even have to be like cooking per se. Like it
It
could be like, how can
doesn't.
I make your life easier? Because that's basically what this is
Yeah.
how do I make your life easier? So,
Right.
yeah, I think I could try that. I just hope it's not like too out of left field, like for like
That's
my
the
followers to be like,
yeah.
huh?
That's the balance, you know? Like
Yeah.
it has to be something that, I mean, like, think about who your target audience is. Like, it's busy, it's you. You are your target
Yeah.
audience. Like a busy mom, like, we don't have all this time. Like, I have stuff I need to take care of. I just need to eat. Okay,
Hmm.
like, what do you need that could make that process easier, you know? Like, and anything that can answer that question, I think would be totally fine. But like, that's where it has to line up. You know, it can't be
Yeah.
something that's like so out of left field that people are like, what?
Yeah.
This makes
Yeah.
absolutely no sense.
Yeah. Cause I do get like brands that sometimes reach out, but it's like,
Right.
this is not a
This does
fit
not
at
make
all.
sense.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, there are some that, yeah, I could probably go a little, I like the journal idea. That was a good one. Things
Yeah,
like
you
that.
know, like, or
Yeah.
even like, I don't know, like maybe it's a binder company where people can print out your
Their
recipes and like
recipes.
put them in a
Yeah.
binder. Like,
Yeah.
you know, there's so many little things like that, but it's like you're so deep into what you do that it's difficult for you to be like, oh yeah, like this little thing that I do could actually be really helpful for someone, you know? Like maybe you
Yeah.
put all of your recipes in a binder. You would never think to tell people about binders because you just do it and you're
Right.
deep into it,
Yeah.
you know? So try
Yeah.
and like, as you're going through the process of meal prepping, like, or anything that's really going to be relevant to your audience, as you're going through the process, like try and like really actively think about it, and like,
Yeah.
and try and remove yourself. Like, is this obvious to everyone else? You know,
Yeah.
because if it's not, and a lot of the
Yeah.
times it's not,
Yeah.
then, you know, that might be a good opportunity to kind of like try and incorporate it in somehow.
And then just like reach out to brands and pitch like that idea and how it connects and things like that.
Right. And that's like, that brings us to like a really good point about, you know, if I'm a food blogger and I'm reaching out to a binder company, like they're going to be like, whoa, what? Like,
Right.
we are like, they're working with like college students or whatever it is, right? So you having that thread that connects the two things, that's a very
Hmm.
important thing to mention in a pitch email or like in a call, like anything. When you want to start connecting with that brand, anytime you want to start connecting with that brand, that's when it's important to be like, here's this great idea I have. I know you
Yeah.
guys are already working with college students. You can exhaust that all you want, but like, I have this whole other audience right here that I
Yeah.
have this great idea on how they can use your binder. Like, let me show you how to do it, you know? Um,
So say if I do that and then I create like a, a cool reel, cause they
yeah.
mostly, everybody wants a video. So do you think it's like a negative thing if I do a sponsorship and it only gets like not very many likes? Like I'm afraid that other brands are going to
I
come look at my
know.
page and be like, oh, like these bombed, So I don't know if
Right.
that's something that they even care about. I mean, do you have experience with that? Like where like when you do campaigns and they don't do so great, do brands ever tell
Yeah.
you like, well, what happened here or anything like that?
So, first of all, this is literally a fear that every single creator that I talk to has. So, like, not
Hmm.
alone there. And it happens very often. So, like, this is not an uncommon thing. You'll have to deal with it at some point. So basically, the way that I kind of like work through that process, my first thing that I like to do is when I am working with a brand in that kind of initial phase, I usually set expectations there that like, I would like to work together on like a multiple pulse, like one in September, one in October, one in November, whatever, multiple pulse partnership, because when my audience has seen things multiple times, that will help them make that purchasing decision. And the first time that we post something together, we don't know who's going to see it. Like we don't
Mm-hmm.
know if it's going to hit. We don't know if it's like going to get caught up in a day when there's a bunch of ads running and it gets kind of lost in the mix. Like there's a lot that's not under your control that can
Right.
happen. And again, it happens very often. And also when people see anything that's sponsored, it is automatically, it's like human nature to like not treat it the same. And I don't know why that is, but
Right.
it's just like it happens. It's a
Yeah.
thing of life. We just have to deal with it. So I typically like to kind of manage those expectations in the beginning. So like I
Mm-hmm.
might say that to a brand, and if they're like, okay, well, we really only like want to do one for now, I'm like, okay, that's fine. However, I just want to like let you know that's typically not when I see my best results. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do my absolute best. I'm going to share it with everyone. I'm so excited to share it with my audience. And if it goes well, I would love to keep working together so we can continue to grow together,
Mm-hmm.
And most brands, I will say, a lot of brands that I've had conversations with that continuously work with creators know this. They know that
Mm-hmm.
sponsored posts don't perform well. And so it is pretty much common knowledge, but you'll definitely get brands that do not understand it.
Yeah.
One thing that's actually, I guess, very important to bring up with this particular topic, there's something called a make good post. Have you heard of this before?
Mm-hmm. I think I heard you talk about it. Yeah.
I try and preach about it because it's like something that you don't hear about a lot. So basically what a make good post is, it might be slipped into a contract, and this is why it's so important to read contracts. It can be slipped
Mm-hmm.
into a contract, and it essentially says that if this post doesn't perform well, and they might put like specific parameters as to what like performing well means. If this post doesn't
Mm-hmm.
hit this many views or this many likes or whatever, you have to create another post for us for free. Like,
Wow.
that's crazy. No,
Yeah.
because I'm not going to work times 2 for my pay only times 1. That doesn't add up for me. So if you ever see that in a contract, we take that out. We're not
Mm-hmm.
agreeing to that. But again, like I try and set those expectations. There have definitely been situations in the past for me where I've been working with a brand that is maybe very new and it's like, wait, why didn't this perform well? All I can say to them is, I did everything that I could possibly do. At a certain point, it's in the hands of the app. Like
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you can create the
exactly.
best post ever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Like
because I don't think it's like the followers, like they just don't see it. If you look
exactly.
at like how many were shown, if I look at my analytics, it's like, oh, it was only pushed out to like, X amount of
Yeah.
people. So it's like, I can't, be mad that it has so
How are you
little
supposed
likes
to
because it
control
hasn't
that?
been. Yeah. So do you think it would also be worth like maybe pushing for a brand to tell them like, well, look, my carousels do best right now. So should I maybe push for a carousel as opposed to a video? Or, you know, but like as much as I would want to do that, I like right now I'm too afraid to push back to any brand because I'm like, no, don't go away, don't ghost me. I don't want to like. I can't
Yeah.
even tell you how many times we've been emailing back and forth, and then they don't respond, and then I'm like, did I say
Right.
something wrong? Or
I
so.
mean, I totally get that, but also like that is something that is gonna like probably end up messing with you more than it's gonna help you. The idea of like, I don't want to push back to the brand because
Mm,
you, especially when like negotiating rates and stuff, right? Like, why you have to learn that like this is my value. Like you have to believe your value before you can, kind of sell it to anyone else. And so when you can like believe that this is the rate that I really should be paid, and
mm-hmm.
then the brand says absolutely not, you're crazy, it's easier to walk away in those situations or to push back. And the one thing that I like try and make everyone kind of like remember is you are in a 50-50 partnership with these brands. Like I
Mm-hmm.
understand that like if, KitchenAid is reaching out to you, like that's a huge brand. You don't want to like ruin a chance to work with them. But if KitchenAid, a bazillion-dollar brand, is offering you $50 for an Instagram post, like is that really a
Yeah.
brand that you want to
Yeah.
work with? It's
Yeah, that's
very
true.
tough to make those decisions because like it's a big brand. Like, you want to work with this big brand, but also like at what cost, you know, like you're going to have to do so much work. You may not be like, you're probably getting taken advantage of is what I'm trying to say. And so like, that really a brand that you want to work with? Maybe not, even though it's a big brand, like that happens all the time. So it's scary to push back, but like, you have to stand up for like, I know what I'm valued at. I know the amount of work that's going to go into this. Like, this is, there's got to at least be a reasonable amount of money involved here, or whatever it might be. So yes, that. And then also, we were talking about, oh man, what were we just talking about before that?
Do you think I should push for carousels?
Oh yes, carousels versus reels. Better? So this is an answer that is going to depend on what the brand's goals are. So like, for example, if the brand's goal is to have you create that video, whatever, they want you to post it, but they also want to reuse it because they need video content, then they don't care about a carousel. But if their goal is sales or their goal is brand awareness, and you say, this is how everyone sees my post, or like, this is how I know people are caring about my post, because look at all these comments that I get on my carousels versus my reels. Yes, you should definitely sell them. So I think it really depends on their goals. And you can ask them that, you know, like, so when a brand reaches out to you and says, or you reach out to a brand, whatever happens, and you say like, let's work together, ask them first question, what are your goals right now? What are you guys trying to accomplish? And they might say, oh, we just launched this new brand of spatulas, a new line of spatulas. And so we just want everyone to know about these spatulas because they're amazing. Yeah. That's when you say, okay, brand awareness. How can I reach the most amount of people? How can I get people to genuinely look at this and care? For you, that might be a carousel, you know? Yeah. And like, you know your audience best. And I know it's difficult to be like, if a brand said, no, brand awareness, we definitely need a video. If you know your audience best, it's the responsible thing to do for you to say, that's not what's going to work best with my audience. I understand the need for video content, but like, if you guys want brand awareness, you've got to trust me that this is the best way to do it. Yeah. You know? Okay. Yeah. Don't be afraid to stand up to these brands. Cause I'm telling you, sometimes they really like think they know everything and they think they have to do things a certain way. But if they're hiring you as a service provider, you know your audience best, you know what you do best. And so like there are certain things that they should be able to, you know, be flexible with, knowing that you're an expert in your content and your audience.
Yeah. Yeah. Which also, you know, I think another thing too is like, my content is pretty one-dimensional. It's like recipe. Yeah. You know, so I'm like, maybe I should also branch out and do like, I don't know, a little bit of myself or like my family or like, I don't know. I think about like what else I could do, or like, oh, we visited this place today or that place today. But I also feel like, because I like to do that because I want my audience to get to know me a little bit more and to kind of like, you know, just show
that you're human behind there, you know?
but I'm like, but again, every time I show anything other than that, it's like the engagement is so low that like, if I try it, I'll go and delete it. Cause I'm like, I don't like these, like these low numbers, you know, like I don't like it hurting my engagement. Like I'm such a perfectionist that like, I like my high engagement. Right. So I don't know. I guess it's also just like trying to choose between the two. Do I want the high engagement or do I want to like, you know, balance, be more balanced? So I don't know. What do you think about that?
That is, I guess I have an opinion on it, but also like it could really go both ways, right? So in my opinion, with something like what you do, where you're strictly like, here's all my food pictures, obviously people come to your page and they know that they're going to get recipes, right? So like we understand that. However, how many bazillions of recipe pages are there? So many, right? What is the only thing that's going to set them apart? Even going more specific and saying how many like easy, quick 5 ingredient, whatever, 3 ingredient, 10 ingredient pages are there, right? Like there are probably a lot. So the only thing that's going to separate all of these pages is you know, like you behind the camera, the one that's making all the recipes, like, you know, you made it for, you know, one of your kids one day and that's what inspired this recipe. Like those are the things that are going to set you apart and help you build community. And at this point in the game, like I understand that you want to keep followers, but the follower number matters a lot less than the community that you're building. Like a lot of brands, even right now, are really learning the value of community over just looking at that follower number and only looking at that number. Like they're looking at comments. They want to know how many like DMs you're getting. They want to see how people are reacting in stories. Like, do you have inside jokes with your audience? Like that kind of community is so, so, so valuable versus just having a big follower count. So at this point in the game right now, I think I would definitely start posting more of, and like it could start off with things that are related to food. Like maybe you are in a video where you're, you know, showing you creating the recipe, or maybe like one of your kids is helping you create the recipe, or even like you can just see like little kid hands like in the videos or whatever it is. But I think to like you could ease into it with connecting it to what you already do. But I don't think that like having one post a month or two posts a month that are about you and your family or what you're doing, like whatever, any of that, I don't think that's a bad thing. And yes, it might not get as much engagement, but it also over time is going to help people learn to relate with you. And then when they want a recipe, instead of like going to 10 other of the pages, they're going to be like, oh my God, I love her. Like, I want to go to her. Like, she has a kid that's like the same age as mine. Like, and you become more of a human behind there, and like they can relate to you more. So you're more someone that they want to spend time with, really, you know, like they're spending time with you on your page. So I personally, I'm all for it. I think you have to go into it the mindset of this is going to take time. Like the first post might bomb, the 10th post might bomb, but like over time, people are going to get more and more familiar with you, with your family, you know, with what you do outside of all of this, that it will become like they're there more for you versus they're there for like your recipes, you know, that's an added bonus is the recipes.
Yeah. I like that idea of starting off with like maybe once a month or something.
Yeah. Like it doesn't have to be all the time. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think it would be fun for you. Like it definitely, I know that you're like a little nervous to get on there and like, you know, show your personality. Like it really is, it's like a lot to put yourself on display on the internet, especially like your kids and everything. If you ever wanted to do that, like I definitely understand that it's like a big hurdle to get over, but I think when you see the response that you get from people who are like, oh my gosh, like, you know, I relate to that too. Or like, oh my gosh, like, you know, I had the same shirt on yesterday. I don't know, whatever. Like when they're seeing you and like when you're talking to the camera, they're able to build relationships with you so much more. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised to see like how strong those relationships get with them like really being able to understand you as a person, you know, like that's very rewarding.
And that's true. And I like that when I go on like TikTok or Instagram and I see, you know, the creator just like kind of like talking to the camera or something, like it's entertaining and I like it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I want to see behind the scenes or who they are and this and that. So yeah, I'll have to, I just needed that little push. I think I definitely want to give that
I'm going to be on you about it. It's so funny. I think about this all the time so like when I'm talking to Andrew, if I'm like trying to explain like a conversation I had with someone that I talk to all the time in the DMs, never met him in person, I'm always like, oh yeah, my friend Anna Lisa, like my friend, even though like whatever we've talked a few times on Instagram. It's when you start to like build that relationship, when people can understand who you are as a person, relate to you, like you can talk about like true crime together. You can talk about things that are totally out of the realm of food. You're able to like actually build friendships. And it's funny when I hear myself say that, oh, my friend this, my friend that. And I'm like, or even people that I haven't really like people that I watch on TikTok that like, I like all their stuff. And like, sometimes they comment back to me. I'm always like, oh, my friend this, my friend that. But it's true. Like you really are able to like build those relationships. I think it's so important. And especially nowadays, like that is something that is going to set you apart so much. Like even just like with brand partnerships, like maybe they want to work with a specific demographic of creator and like they have no idea who you are. Like, how are you supposed to be considered for opportunities? Like,
there's like one picture on my Instagram of me and it's like way
yeah,
down.
exactly. They're not digging. They're not going to dig for it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, I'll give that a try. I like that.
All right. How are you feeling? Are you feeling like a little more like you've got a fire lit under your ass now?
I do. Yeah. I can see why you need like a coach, you know, like a content creator coach just to talk these things through because, you know, if I try to tell my husband about these things, he's just like, you can do it. Like, you know, he doesn't even have social media. So he doesn't understand how it how it works or anything. So
I totally get that. Good. Yay. Okay. Well, I'm excited. I hope everyone listening really enjoyed this. I'm sure that a lot of people listening are going through the same struggles. So I hope that this information was helpful for you guys. If you're interested in getting your free one-on-one podcast coaching call, all you have to do is join us in our private membership community, the Soulcial Suite. Anna Lisa, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. It was so much fun.